Roquefortine.
And that stuff is really toxic. It's so toxic that it could lead up to the dog's death. And they can't process that Roquefortine in their system. Roquefortine. So if you suspect your dog has eaten it, keep an eye on their behavior and see, like, if they're getting lethargic at that. There's not really any recorded symptoms that's what's happened. But nevertheless, you should look at it and probably call a vet if you suspect it's over-ripened blue cheese.
If you even suspect, I would definitely look into it.
The next on our list is yeast dough. Now, this one's kind of a really basic thing. Yeast dough rises.
And it expands.
So if your dog eats it, it's going to expand in your stomach because of heat. Mm-hmm. So you have the possibility of intestinal obstruction or even stomach rupture, which both you have to go to the vet and do massive surgery.
Hopefully they have a vet ER.
Exactly.
Or an emergency center.
The last one on our list is chewing gum and what's called xylitol sweetener. Now,
I think sweetener in general, I would not give my dog any sweetener or sugar or anything like that because sugar in general is bad for your dog. It can cause pretty much the same issue that are caused in humans. So sweeteners and sugars, try to keep your dog away from those as much as possible. And natural sugars, like in fruit and stuff, if it's those fruit that are the fruit that don't have the pits in them, and it's not grapes and stuff like that, that can be toxic. It can be very good for your dog.
Well, see, that's the thing. It's like small amounts of sugar. Mm-hmm. That's not bad.
Yeah, natural sugar. We want like natural sugar.
Well, even like sugar you buy from the store and that.
I don't know if I would give that to my dog though.
You probably shouldn't. But small amounts is not going to hurt your dog. Mm-hmm. Even like a little chunk of sugar is not going to hurt your dog. You probably shouldn't give it to him. But it's not going to be like deathly bad for your dog.
Yeah, if they accidentally lob some up.
Don't freak out over it. It's like they're probably going to get hyper, and that's the worst thing they're going to do.
More specifically, this sweetener. How do you pronounce that, Tim?
Xylitol.
I like xylitol sweetener. This can cause your dog to have liver failure and become comatose. That's pretty bad.
It's one of the worst things, and the reason why I'm specifically saying xylitol sweetener is that there's been some peanut butter out there that's been sweetened with xylitol sweetener. So if you like giving peanut butter to your dogs,
like those toys, the stretchy toys, or the hard to, the ones that are like supposed to be indestructible.
Exactly.
And you put those, my dog loves eating peanut butter and TREATs out of it, but you want to make sure that it's the healthy peanut butter, as close, like if you can get your hands on some natural peanut butter and you don't mind having to mix it up every time you have to use it.
Or even if you go to like a dog or a pet store, they're going to sell like peanut butter flavored things, and they're actually using decent peanut butter. They're not using anything that's going to have this xylitol sweetener in it. You're getting jealous, aren't you? We're almost done, buddy.
Yeah, Jon Snow wants to get up.
He wants loves. Well, anyway, that's our list, and we're going to talk about...
But before we go into anything else, I'd like to just go in. I promise you guys I would tell you exactly what you should do if your dog eats anything that's not... anything that was on this list or anything that's not on this list. Anything besides things that are going to cause obstructions. And the thing that I did that I actually think, I honestly believe saved my dog's life, is I went and as soon as I possibly could get it done, I made some plain rice and cooked plain rice, and I gave it to them. And so what that's going to do is that's going to sop up whatever's in their stomach, and it's going to make it a lot easier to digest and pass it. And another thing that you can do, and I know it's going to sound like, oh, I'm poisoning my dog, but it's really good in situations like this, is a little bit of hydrogen peroxide. And Tim, what were the reasons behind that?
Hydrogen peroxide, a very small amount of hydrogen peroxide is actually good for human beings as well. What it does is it goes through your system and kind of cleanses your system by taking out all of these bad nutrients or bad issues that you have, or not issues, but just toxins that are in your body, and helps it pass through you. The thing is with dogs, it kind of does the same way. You might want to have like a lot less than you would a human.
Yeah, because think about it, your dog is a lot smaller than you are.
That and their digestive system is a little bit...
Yeah, it's not as good as
a lot different. But it will go through them, and it might cause a little bit of diarrhea through it. But that's kind of a natural thing with the hydrogen peroxide, is that it's allowing all those toxins to get out of his system and quickly. Sometimes it can induce vomiting, and so it's kind of like a last resort to try to do the induced vomiting. But I wouldn't really suggest her trying to use hydrogen peroxide to do that specific task. You'd probably use like Ipecac oil, which will cause anything to vomit. You are a attention hog, aren't you?
You know, that's what I used to think that the purpose of Pepto-Bismol was, to induce vomiting.
A lot of people think that way.
It's just so disgusting. It's gross.
Mm-hmm.
I used to think that the purpose of to muscle through Pepto-Bismol was to make you throw up.
Mm-hmm. Well, anyway, now we've explained those two things. Let's talk about just some foods that are actually good for your dog and are founded in dog foods and dog treats and things like that. They're sweet potatoes.
Yeah, sweet potatoes. You know, one thing that I've actually tried doing with my dogs that they love is you take some sweet potatoes and you cut them up real thin, and you can put them in the oven and make jerky out of them.
Exactly. Hey, buddy, don't bump the microphone.
And he bumps the microphone.
Oh, just a little bit. Okay, you gotta be down now, buddy. Anyway, with sweet potato...
He's like, no, I don't want to go. Please.
With sweet potatoes, you actually find that in grain-free diets, especially when it's hard dog food, because you need something to have the wheat, or not wheat, but the meat combined together. You're a little finicky. You're going to get tied up in all the wires.
Dude, he's just
I think he really needs to go to the bathroom.
You guys can't sit here without me sitting on your lap.
Cooked potatoes is another good one to do. And it could also do the same process as rice. Not as good as rice when it comes to actually getting rid of those toxins, because it can absorb those and help pass through your system. Cored apples. So not the core, but the apple itself has a lot of good antioxidants. Blueberries, peanut butter, peas is another reason, because of sweet potatoes. Did he take the microphone off you?
Excuse me, he took the microphone off of me.
All right. Well, hopefully it doesn't cause too bad of an effect on you guys. Carrots is another good one. You know of any other ones besides what I have on this list?
Well, peanut butter.
Bananas. Bananas are actually a pretty good one as well.
Oh gosh, I did have one earlier that I was thinking about.
Obviously, like good hearty meats.
The raw. What is it? The raw food diet.
Oh yeah, there's that raw food diet, and it was kind of another reason why I wanted to do this this episode, was because there's this raw food diet called the barf diet, where you just feed them raw really foods.
Barf.
But then
maybe
you need
barf,
to
barf as in like bark.
Yeah, kind of like that maybe.
Bork.
Anyway, when you're feeding them,
I have a joke.
Okay, what's the joke?
What do dogs from Sweden sound like?
What?
Bjark. Bjark. Anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you there, Tim. I just had to.
If you're feeding your dogs meat like that, be sure to throw in certain things like some beef bones you can do. Not chicken bones, because chicken bones fracture really easily, but beef bones so that they can chew on something to strengthen their teeth.
And not only
make sure you keep an eye on it, because they do like fracture in that.
Yeah, and when they fracture, they splinter.
Exactly, so and they could cause damage to your dog.
Do not feed your dog chicken bones ever.
Mm-hmm. Beef bones are okay for them.
And another good thing is if you...
And lamb bones as well, pork bones.
If you have like a butcher nearby, sometimes they'll sell you just big old bones that you can for like making soup and stuff like that. And when you're done making soup, just give them your dog, and the marrow is actually really good for them. Exactly.
But if you're doing this barf diet, be sure to add things like sweet potatoes, blueberries, carrots, peas, something so that they're not just having that protein. Like, granted, they're going to process that protein and probably are more of an exercise dog, and that's why you're giving them this barf diet or this pure protein diet, but they do need these other antioxidants that they're not gaining strictly from that. That's why you'll see dogs in the wild, especially wolves, they'll actually do like a bit of foraging. They'll eat bits of grass or bits of other things so that they're getting those antioxidants.
It's actually one thing that dogs actually do by themselves to induce vomiting is grass. So if you ever see your dog eating grass, that usually means that they have something in their stomach that's not supposed to be there.
But anyway, I think that's it for our lists for the show.
Well, we did want to do a little bit of whoring out about our castles and cauldrons.
Almost every podcast that I've listened to personally has used that term about their other shows that they're on. Whoring out their shows.
Yeah.
On this production company, if you've been following me for a while, you've noticed that I've changed the name to the product or the company to Blue Arrow Media.
I helped come up with that.
Exactly. And I'm
so cool, guys.
There's a few shows on there. If you haven't listened to the show yet, or one of my other shows, I have a show with my good friend and co-host Brant Wolf called Tim and Wolf's Puff Life, and we do cigar reviews, pipe tobacco reviews, stuff like that. And we're trying to plan up our new episode, which we're going to record tomorrow and then post later.
On my porch.
Exactly. We do it on the back of her porch because it's nice and
cool. It's freezing.
We don't want to smoke in the house.
It's like 20 degrees here right now?
Oh, no.
It was. Oh, it's actually been getting warmer, actually.
It's been getting really warmer.
What was the temperature that one night that you guys did it, though?
It was almost 30.
It was there was still snow outside. There's snow outside right now, but...
Not a lot of snow.
But our other one that Tim and I actually do together, and we're going to have a couple other people do, that's going to be not just co-host specials, but actually regulars. They're going to be on the show every single episode. And
it's called Castles and Cauldrons. And what we do is we do a little role-playing game. A tabletop role-playing.
It's our geek game, because Tim and I are actually total nerds.
Super nerds.
Yeah, super, super nerdy. In fact, I'm pushing my glasses up right now, my invisible glasses, off of the bridge of my nose.
Anyway.
See, if my calculations are correct, you will come and watch Castles and Cauldrons.
So, what it is it's a tabletop RPG, and you'll get to go into this wonderful comedic adventure of pillaging, dungeon diving, dragon killing,
minstrelling, and we've created our own little world. Like, this is all original shit, guys. I hope you don't mind me saying that, the SITH word.
Only mildly, but it's okay. It's okay.
But it's all original. We've gone and fleshed out our entire history of this world, and so we're playing on our own dialogue, our own world, our own pretty much terrain. Like, exactly. Everything that is a part of this game that we will be doing is all original stuff.
So we'll keep you updated on this and see how far we're going, and hopefully you can tune in to our first show and continuously on. Eventually I wouldn't mind starting to do these as live broadcasts, but we're going to keep it as just recordings for now, and hopefully you guys will enjoy it either way. If you have any questions or concerns, or want to tell me that I'm a dork, or you don't like me,
dork. You're a nerd.
Be free.
I like you.
Oh, I thank you.
You're welcome.
Why?
Oh, he's hugging me. Yeah.
Anyway, feel free to not text me. Feel free to email me.
You would be super freaked out if some random person texts you. You're
like,
I watched your podcast. How did you get this number?
I watched your podcast.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Push up my invisible glasses on the bridge of my nose.
Anyway, you can contact me at timcase17.
How do you spell that?
TIMCASE 17 at gmail.com.
And thank you so much for joining us, guys. Again, my name is Heather Jane.
And I'm Timothy Case. And you've just listened to Pet Parlor.
Pet Parlor, woo!